Lean methodology is critical for startups in Latin America, and most founders do it wrong because lean methodology is a methodology. It is a theory, it is a philosophy, it is a practice, it is a framework. And what happens is you spend time, like a lot of product focused founders, you spend a lot of time like building this beautiful lean spreadsheet and all of these things, but then there's no steps to actually execute. Lean methodology assumes that you already have an operation set and you're going to make it leaner, right? Or you're preparing to launch, but then when you actually get to the launch, it leaves you in the lurch of actually getting to market, right? So it gets you all the way up to get into the market. Just imagine like you have that golf ball, you're teeing it up, you're ready to swing, and then you have no hammer. The difference between lean methodology and RevOps is a way to take revenue operations and put them into practice. Lean teaches you how to practice, how to think, how to, formulate your teams and all that stuff. But RevOps is a way to make sure that you have 5 revenue generating projects or activities in your startup at all times, right? How to create visibility, right? How to create interaction and offers, how to enable sales, how to retain, onboard, and create community, and how to upsell and create a product or services roadmap, right? That's the difference. Lean is going to tell you, okay, let's operate lean, let's save a lot of money. RevOps is going to make you identify how the 5 revenue generating areas of your business are going to move forward, and RevOps Science is how to actually execute that. Within RevOps Science, the second pillar is called progress, the revenue growth formula. It consists of 5 revenue generating pillars: how to generate awareness, how to generate interaction and engagement. That means like creating offers. How to enable sales. What's the sales plan? What's the sales strategy? How to onboard, create community, and retain customers or clients. And then how to upsell customers and keep them for a really, really long time. This matters because if you're a startup and you're trying to scale, the focus shouldn't just be on let's raise capital and let's sell, or let's do a really, really good job with marketing and publicity and all that. No. You have to make sure that you come full circle, right? The 5 pillars create a full sentence with a capital letter and a period. If you don't have all of that together, you're speaking in incomplete sentences to your business and your business isn't going to grow. So unlocking the 5 revenue generating pillars is important not only for recurring revenue growth, but for predictable startup scale. For founders that are feeling stuck in terms of their revenue growth, there are 3 elements of RevOps Science, right? Process, progress, and performance, right? Process puts together, okay, like what are the metrics that we're measuring? Where are we starting? Where are we going? What are we measuring along the way? What are the metrics on the clock? What are the revenue outcomes on the calendar? What are the tools that we need to get there, right? The second is progress, the revenue growth formula, the 5 elements. You make sure that all the things that you're doing start mapping into the 5 pillars. And if you think about all the things that you're doing, and you have to, by startup law, by RevOps Science law, assign it to a pillar, you're going to see where you're placing your emphasis in your business. If all you're doing is sales and no retention, then you're going to have really high CAC, but your LTV is going to be low, right? Your customer acquisition costs, but then it affects the longevity of your customer and your ability to scale over time. So if it's one thing that you can do today with RevOps Science to start improving the scale of your business, is performing the right, wrong, missing, confused exercise to figure out where you're placing all of your resources. Okay, and making sure that, as you know, and the way that I mean to do that is once you have right, wrong, missing, confused, and you figure out all the things that you're doing, you have to assign it to these 5 pillars. What are the pillars that are either missing from the 5 that you're not creating projects or campaigns for? And if you have all 5, which one is in more jeopardy than the other, right? If I'm doing a really strong sales push, but then, kind of the redheaded stepchild is kind of like marketing, or the redheaded stepchild is creating product or services in the direction of my current customer base, that's dollars on the table. And you want to make sure that you deploy that now.